Okay, welcome everyone to the very first info session for Vinyasa School of Yoga. First of all, let's introduce ourselves. The three lead teachers that I guess have founded and developed this program are right here. So I'm Sarah, Sarah Walton, and my contributions are the business side of yoga and asana and sequencing and other stuff here and there. So you'll see me in the videos. And to my right is Lena.
Hello, my name is Lena. I'm the other founder for Vinyasa School of Yoga, and I primarily work to capture all of the content for you guys. So a lot of the recording and a lot of the technical stuff on the back end, I definitely do a lot of that. But you also will see my face in the lectures and asana and sequencing, and a lot of the live sessions too. So we will talk about that in detail a little bit later, but we do have a weekly live session that's in person, and I'm always there. And to my right is Patricia.
I'm Patricia, and I am going to be in your pranayama, philosophy, and just a little bit of everywhere. And then I'll be usually in your live sessions. And really, we're all here in support as well. So anytime you have a question, if you have concerns, we are the people that get all the emails and respond directly to you. And I think that's it.
So right now, what we're going to do is go through what our program looks like online and just kind of guide you through the entire process of what happens when you want to start the training with us. So Patricia is going to share the screen, and then you can see what we are looking at. So once you go onto our website, that was our homepage. And right now we're coming into the course hub. And on our main page, the website, you'll find everything that you need to know, but we'll talk about it because it's a little bit overwhelming if you're just going and reading a bunch of text. So this is perfect just to break everything down for you. We'll start with how our school works. So how the program works. If we scroll down to the little list that we have made, yeah, perfect. So this is a step-by-step breakdown for our 200-hour YTT. First of all, you would need to apply to our school. And then we set up a little mini interview just to get you to know you a little bit more. And this will be over Zoom, just so we are socially distanced until restrictions have changed. Then we can move to in-person. And it also depends on where you are in the world too, because we have some applicants who might be on the East Coast, some applicants who are on the island. And in those cases, it'll have to be over Zoom. And since our course is primarily a online-based course, everything can be done over Zoom, but if you're in the city, we can always connect in person. And then after our little interview where we get to know yourself and some of your intentions, we will send you an email with a welcome package. The welcome package will include a bunch of different things, from a get started checklist to a doctor's note that you would need to bring to your doctor to just say that you're able to practice 1 to 2 hours of yoga a day, just so you're entering this safely. And then also a book list, because for our program, we do have some readings that you would need to do. And so all of that information will be in the welcome package, and it outlines everything you need to know really clearly. And then after that, you are all set up to enroll in our school. And once you enroll in the school, you have access to all of our content. So you can see the page that you're looking at right now. On the left is the Welcome to Your 200-Hour YTT Course Hub. The Course Hub is where you're going to find everything that you need to know for the actual course. And it's essentially if you think of UBC, you know how there's like the UBC Hub, and there's info things there and people you can talk to. This is kind of like the YTT hub where you can find everything you need to find in this little section here. And in terms of timing, I guess we should talk about the actual application process and how the timing works. We have recently switched to a kind of a semester scheme. So our next semester starts on May 1st. And we function just like any school now. So May to August is a summer semester, and then September to December is the fall semester. January to April is the winter semester. But that said, we recommend a 4-month semester, but you have 1 year access to all of the information, all of the content, and you're able to take as long as you need it within that year to finish, or you can finish in the 4 months, which is our suggested schedule. So it depends on your life, whether you're working, whether you're in school, how busy you are. We've had some students who decided to take a break in the middle of it because they were too busy and to go back to it when they are ready. And so I'll talk about this in more detail. In more detail after this. So let's hop back to how our 200-hour yoga teacher training works. Great. And as a token of our appreciation and to give you access to as much yoga resources as possible, you will also receive a Vinyasa digital studio access for 1 year for free. So it's called Vinyasa Online. We'll take a look at that later as well. And basically, it's an online yoga streaming platform where you're able to take a look at all the classes that our studio has to offer. You can practice from home, especially if you don't live in Vancouver or you don't feel super comfortable coming into studio setting for now. You can do that online. And then after you are set up with access to our content, 1 month in, we can set up a Zoom call or a meeting just to follow up with you, see how you're doing, and it'll be a good opportunity for you to meet your peers who also started either in May, September, or January, so that you can form little study groups, you can talk to each other, you can set goals, bring any sort of concerns or questions to us. And that being said, we are always responding to email, so if you have any questions at any point in the course, you can email us and we'll help you out. And as I was saying before, there is weekly live sessions. So this is a pretty big part of our program, I would say. So weekly live sessions, it happens on a different day each week, but it's all in our schedule. And the live sessions will consist of a certain topic that is decided 1 month prior. And the topic can range from philosophy to anatomy, to having a guest teacher. For example, recently we had an arm balancing workshop as one of our live sessions. And then in a 1 month's time, there's always one live session that is dedicated to practice teaching. Because we are a teacher training program, so one of the sessions will be to help you learn how to teach. And that's done in like a group setting in groups of 3 or 4, so it's not that intimidating, and you're able to apply what you have learned in the program. And right there it says attend at least 12 weekly live sessions, so that's a recommended minimum number of live sessions for you to attend for graduation. So we recommend 16 weeks to finish and 12 live sessions because sometimes we understand you're not going to be able to make it. And if you don't make it, there's always the opportunity for you to go back to a live session recording. So if you take a look on the left side, there's a live session recordings. We keep a backlog of all of our live sessions. We record them and put it online onto our platform. So if you miss it, or if you ever want to go back and refer to it, it's all uploaded here. So then moving on to the content, tests, worksheets, and quizzes. So because our program is accredited with Yoga Alliance, I should have mentioned that at the very beginning. We are accredited. So there's going to be homework, there's assessments, there's in-session quizzes on the website, there's a final exam, there's things that you complete on your own time and upload or send to us to mark. We'll take a look at that later once we get into the actual courses and what that kind of looks like. And moving on to Practicum. So because we are a program that essentially creates teachers, at the end of it, you would need to do a 1-hour practicum, which means at the end, there's an evaluation where you're asked to teach a 60-minute class, either recorded if you're not in Vancouver or don't feel comfortable in a studio right now, or done in the studio where you have some students here as your first class.
And maybe I'll just mention, we have dedicated teacher in training classes for these practicums for the people that are ready to practice teach. And so it's well aware for anybody that's coming to the studio that, you know, these teachers are learning and getting experience. And it's a really valuable way to have that real life experience if you have the accessibility. You live in Vancouver and you're comfortable with it. So yeah, I think that's kind of a unique thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, and you'll also have one of us lead teachers to attend your practicum and give feedback and suggestions and help you go from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for these sessions, essentially, you would just sign up for time slot that you feel, not feel comfortable, but you sign up when you feel ready to teach. And then one of us will be your supervisor for that time slot. And then, it says right there, book at least one teacher in training session, either individual or group, prior to practicum evaluation. So it's actually pretty encouraged that you do book a teacher in training session before you teach your final evaluation practicum. And it says individual or group there because we understand that hopping in to teach a 1-hour, 60-minute session right away, it can be a lot to remember. It can feel kind of intimidating. So we've made it an option for our students to kind of pair up, or even groups of 3 or 4, for them to split a full class into sections so that they can each lead a portion of the class until they feel comfortable to teach a full class. And then when that's done, and you can book your final practicum evaluation that I just mentioned, either in person or you record it and we look at the recording. And then you complete a take-home final exam, which is, we can actually take a look at it later as well. And then when all of that is done, you can apply for graduation once the practicum is complete. And the graduation is also another topic that we will talk about a little bit later. So yeah, this is how it works. And now I think we're gonna dive into a 15-week schedule and just taking a look at what that's like.
Can I just comment on the last one? So the finish line is apply for graduation. And then it's sort of like, woohoo, okay, what's next? So there's lots of what's next. There's a lot of interest in this teacher training, simply to deepen your knowledge of yoga, deepen your yoga practice, deepen, knowing more about yoga philosophy and theory, and that's wonderful. So that's always a great option. And there is, a lot of very eager students that actually want to become teachers and teach in a studio space. So our experience so far, we've had, I call them the fast trackers. We've had 2 really fast tracker students that have already, they haven't really truly graduated, but they're getting their practicum and their experience. They've completed their teacher and training sessions, and now they actually have scheduled class times called Flow 15, which is a reduced drop-in rate. And yeah, they're loving it, and they fast-tracked into being a teacher right away. And yeah, it blows my mind how quick that happened. And really great just to gain confidence and find your voice as a teacher. So that's an awesome option.
Yeah, great. Okay, did you want to go over the 15-week schedule?
Okay, so I'll take you through the general 15-week schedule. So it's suggested that it's a 4-month plan, only because we know that sometimes having a deadline is nice. And so we tried to make a flexible schedule for you that is 15 weeks, meaning there's a little extra week for us to kind of just miss if life happens. And it's very general. Sometimes some weeks are a little easier, some are a little bit longer, and they're all just recommended. So there's definitely a lot of room for you to be able to change things around according to your schedule, according to your life. So for example, let's look at week 1. We have Asana, and it just recommends that for this week, let's do module 1, 1.0, 1.1, and even tells you about how much time you'll need. It's going to be about 45 minutes for the asana portion this week. And then if we look into anatomy, let's do module 1 from 1.0 to 1.3 with a review and a quiz. And you can even see the breakdown of the time, like, oh, I mean, maybe 10 or 15 minutes to do my anatomy work. So we're trying to break it down so it's very easy for you to begin to build a schedule that works for you. So if you can follow the recommended. At the very end, you'll see that we have a section that says practice. And these are just recommended classes that we'll talk about later on the platform of Vinyasa Online that you will be gifted with, that different practices for you to start to incorporate. Because one of the things with your practicum is to possibly challenge yourself to do a 30-day asana practice, a 30-day physical yoga practice. And these recommendations are just going to help you begin to build it. So some days this would be the beginning of your course, so it's a little bit more chill. As you see, we move a little deeper into the weeks. You have things that are a little bit more fiery, and then you have some weeks that may have a little bit more. But some of the course content, they are repeated because some people may only be just doing, say, the pranayama section and not the meditation. So there are parts of the courses that repeat itself, but our schedule will kind of account for those repeats, that you won't have to be doing anything more than once. So this is just the recommended schedule, and eventually, hopefully, you'll get to week 15. You can see that by the end, the days are much shorter because it's more about self-study and it's more about self-practice. So as we start to get closer towards the end of your course, you'll have a bit more time to start working on teaching and less so about studying and taking in the course content. And that's it for the schedule.
Okay. I will talk about the live schedule and the teacher in training schedule. So oh yeah, perfect. So in the course hub, there's a tab for weekly live session and teacher in training schedule. And if you go here, it's an embedded calendar where you can find all of the important links and important dates. And if we maybe click on the 18th March live session. Yeah. So if you go click on that, it's going to give you some details on the live session topic for that day. For example, the one upcoming on Thursday is about anatomy. And the lesson on anatomy is available through Zoom, or people can choose to come into the studio. And for the teacher in training, if you click on the 20th, perhaps, or it doesn't matter which day, it says class taught by Natasha at the studio. So these are all people who have signed up to teach their either practicum or simply for practice at the studio. And I put it here because I think it's really valuable for other teacher trainees to have an opportunity to come and and take a class taught by their peers. And I think it's just fun. It's like moral support, right?
And we should mention that the participation in the teacher in training for all of the students in the School of Yoga is complimentary, so it's free. Yeah.
Yes. So there is a drop-in rate for the public, but if you're enrolled in the teacher training, you can just come hang out,
Yeah.
come support. Yeah. So yeah, this is a pretty good thing to bookmark if you're enrolled in the program. And I think that's what we're going to talk about next, right? The link hub. So we understand that having a online training can be quite overwhelming and scattered. So you don't really know where all of the links are. You're like trying to find where the Facebook group is. By the way, we have a Facebook group. Where the Facebook group is and where everything is. So I created this little link tree. I found it to be very helpful in my personal life, and for you guys to have, I feel like it's just really helpful. So if you find your links here, you click on that green thing. Oh, maybe click on it. Yeah. There you go. And you have all this. So you have the teacher in training sign up sheet. You have the live session and teacher in training schedule, which we just looked at. The book, A Private with a Mentor, which is an option if you ever feel like you're lagging behind and need a little bit of an extra support. You can always book a private with one of us. And then there's the Facebook group. You can click there, join, and that's where you're going to find a lot of your peers who are also in the group, and you can reach out to each other and offer each other support. And then lastly, the Vinyasa Online, right there, we will take a look at that later on in the info session, but that takes you onto the online streaming platform where you're going to find all of the classes that you can practice in your weekly schedule. Yeah. So we looked at the course hub, the link tree, and we'll move on to what our online course actually looks like. So moving over to anatomy. So now we're in our anatomy course, and as you can see, everything's broken up into different modules, and maybe we can just scroll all the way down just to show what it looks like. As you can see, at the end of each module, there's like a little quiz to test your knowledge. There's course worksheets, and there's all these video lectures and text. Now we'll show you what a quiz looks like. So maybe we'll just select any random anatomy quiz. It's just multiple choice. Yeah, and you can go through, select the answers, and at the end, it will give you a grade. So these ones I believe you can retake them. It's not like you fail and you don't pass the course. This is like for you to gauge your own understanding more so. Yeah. So this is what it looks like. I will show you the asana and sequencing course as well. So if you go onto the website, you don't have to do this right now, but on the website, it just shows you all of our different courses. And just to clarify, we have an asana and sequencing course, anatomy course, meditation course, pranayama and subtle body anatomy course, yoga history and philosophy course, and a yoga business course. So there's 6. So now we are in the asana and sequencing course. And if you scroll down to module 1 and 2, I guess, you can see that there's all of these different classes of postures. So the first half of this course really breaks down what these postures are. It teaches you how to get into them safely, teaches you alignment, it teaches you basically in very much detail these yoga postures. And then in the second half of this course, we kind of get into more so building the pose and sequencing once you understand how these asana postures function. And yes, so in the second half of the course, we have sequencing fundamentals, and you can see module 4.2 there, universal principles of alignment. And we're just going to show you this as a quick example of what a module looks like. So you have that video up there of me explaining the universal principles of alignment in yoga. And then underneath are the course notes that correspond with the video itself. So lots of information. And you can also change the speed at which the video plays, which I find really helpful when I'm taking online courses, because sometimes the person just speaks too slowly. I'm like, can you please speak faster? So I'll put it on like 1.5 speed. Or if you're taking notes, you can slow it down. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. Let's see. Yeah, let's take a look at creative sequencing. So this is in the second half of the course, after you kind of understand the alignment principles, the cueing, the breakdown of the postures, we get into creative sequencing. And this is where we have a bunch of different teachers talk about their own sequencing. So as you can see here, just to show you an example, we have Ailey Storin, who is talking about different styles of sequencing. There's teaching to a peak pose, teaching to a theme, and many other styles of sequencing. And then here at the end, she teaches a class in her own style. And if you look on the left, we have other guest teachers. Patricia is not a guest teacher, but I guess you were here. I don't know. And we have Liv, and as you can see, we have Risto, who did his classic class, Rocket Yoga. And this is also available on Vinyasa Online. And yes. And then there's also your at-home practice. If you click on that, it is a master class that is taught by Patricia. It's a bit of a longer class, and it's part of your training schedule on the 15-week schedule as well. And so as you can see, this is like basically towards the very end of your entire asana sequencing course, which is why we put the master class at the end here. Also available on Vinyasa Online. And speaking of Vinyasa Online, we're going to transfer over to the site. And maybe, Sarah, did you want to comment on this?
Well, so as we log in, yeah, the Vinyasa Online is, like Lena mentioned, a streaming site platform that has all different styles of yoga. So we have our newest category up there is breakdown. So it's kind of focusing on breaking down a certain posture or maybe a certain flow, more of like a workshop idea. And then we have I guess the major category is flows. All of the content would be based on a Vinyasa flow style. And then we have, the revved up, more powerful, which is under power. All different styles of classes, our hip hop yoga, and then yoga strong. And then more of a restorative approach is chill. And then our meditation classes. So the way we've developed this is it's mimicking, what we offer in the actual bricks and mortar studio. So a lot of diversity, and all the teachers have a lot of different backgrounds as far as what kind of lineage they studied, where they trained. So I feel like it's a really good all-around platform just to explore all the different styles of practices and keep up your own practice. Yeah, and then, if you want to hover over any of them, they give you a brief description. And like Lena mentioned before, you have access to all of these videos, and then there's suggested ones within your course content. Yeah.
Okay, so now you are ready for graduation.
That was quick.
That was so quick. Okay, so if you look at the Prepare for Graduation tab on the left here in the course hub, this gives you a checklist on just understanding whether or not you have completed everything for graduation. As you can see right here, we have a group of people graduating on March 28th, and the deadline for graduation application is tomorrow. So on this list, you have number 1, which is completed all course modules and content, including quizzes. Number 2 is the final practicum. Number 3 is your final exam. And number 4, as Patricia was mentioning, you're completing one of the, wait, is it one of the following? Yes, one of the following 30 days of any of these items listed here. So this is your personal development practicum, more so a personal commitment to your practice. So it's not marked, it's just like a internal growth type event, you know? And so after that, you can see there's a link that says apply for graduation here. And underneath it talks about some of the graduation details. And that's about it. So we have, as I was mentioning, graduation ceremonies also happen every 4 months because we have now 3 semesters a year. So graduation would happen towards the end of that semester. But if you are not finished at the end of the 4 months, it's no problem. You can definitely take longer to graduate. And you can always hop in on a graduation ceremony in the next round as well. Yeah. Is there anything to add to that?
I think we could just open for questions.
Yes.
May I add one thing? In a way, I know that the practicum looks scary. A lot of people, they look at that, it looks like a lot of work. And the reason being is that because we're certified by Yoga Alliance, we want to make sure that you're getting the same experience, even though it is online. So having a practicum that's a little bit more extensive just allows us to have a bit more connection with you and also a bit more time for you to really kind of soak in this work of becoming a yoga teacher. And so when you're doing this, definitely don't worry about failing because we're not here to fail. You can't fail, really. As long as you're willing to do the work, you'll get through this course and you'll be fine. So definitely approach it with just curiosity and don't worry about being graded. We're not grading you. We're not worrying about your mark or anything. It's really for your own progress. And then if you have questions, I think we're ready for questions.
Maybe we'll offer Julia the first priority since she's here in the studio. Do you have anything that you'd like to ask?
Just for like is there like a deadline to apply for like May? Or is it just
The deadline for the May rollout? What is our deadline?
We don't have one. I guess any day
No,
before,
you could start as long as it's before May 1st.
before May 1st, yeah.
And that said, some people, we've given them the option that if they wanted to start a little earlier, they could kind of have like a kickstart, even if you wanted to start in April.
The only thing with that is if you want to start in April is that you do get to see the old sessions right now, because in May 1st, we will kind of wipe down all the live sessions that you see, and we're going to start fresh. So right now, if you do start in April, you kind of get that chance to be in between and get to see what the other session kind of did before we kind of wipe it all clean, and it'll be a fresh start for May 1st.
Maybe Simran, do you have any questions?
No, I actually think I'm good for now. Yeah, thank you.
I'm trying to think if I've had questions just from people that, I do have one. Yes, this is interesting, actually. I'm going to pretend I'm the person, anonymous, but she's very interested and she's looking forward to reviewing this link. We are recording it, right? Perfect. But one of her concerns was, I'll be interested to how we would answer this. I feel like I've gotten the question a couple times and it makes me a little awkward and nervous, but she is very religious. I can't determine exactly what religion, but she was worried that, diving into yoga and teacher training and learning philosophy and theory could be against her religion, or she's taking on a new religion kind of thing. Of course, I said, no, this is not the case, but I had difficult time articulating that. Yeah, it's a tough one.
No, that is a really good question because often people think that yoga is religious, and the way that our school is approaching it is not. It's philosophy. It's a way of life. You can choose to take what you want, and we didn't get to talk about that before, but this program is considered a Hatha Raja yoga practice. Hatha meaning that it is about the physical posture. Raja meaning we are considering all the aspects of yoga, which is the breath work, the meditation, the concentration, the yama and niyama, which is the ethical rules. So we're really pulling in the philosophies and trying to build a very well-rounded yoga teacher training. So it's not just about postures, it's an 8-limbed practice. And in that way, it's really philosophy and not so much religion in the sense that you're welcome to take what serves you. And you'll see that the philosophies are very prominent and they're repeated in all religions. So whether you're of a certain religious, I mean, for myself, coming from a lot of the Buddhist practice, there are parallels. And so you'll find that some will connect to you a little stronger than others, and definitely don't worry too much. We're not going to also push you on anything. Our teacher training has so many different teachers coming from different lineages, different practices, that if anything, we welcome all the diversity. So definitely don't feel like you're gonna have to, adjust yourself.
Yeah, good answer. Anything else from you, Julia?
I think that's all for me from that.
Yeah.
Pretty comprehensive.
Just trying to think. I have a common question. People ask me all the time. They'll say, okay, well, I can't do this certain pose. Let's call it like king dancer's pose. How can I be a teacher if I can't do this posture? And I kind of giggle because it's really like just the opposite way of thinking. And I can speak from my own experience that as soon as I dove into a teacher training, my practice was organically evolved as my knowledge grew bigger and as I, dive deeper. And the truth is, we're all learning. We're all at some point in our practice that there's always going to be more to learn. There's always going to be, blocks and areas where it's more challenging. But being a teacher is not about, being able to hold a handstand for 5 minutes or in any means. So yeah, it's not posture related. If people are hesitant on wondering if they're ready, I would say that, if you've always thought of this, if it's always been on your mind and you're really passionate about the practice and you want to learn more, it's really the perfect opportunity. I mean, right now, I feel like although COVID has affected the world really negatively, some of us have a little more free time, and having this accessibility both online and in person is kind of the perfect marriage. So it's, yeah, I think it's perfect. So I always say the time is now, the perfect time is always now. And you have 3 very supportive people, and we're really easygoing and really easygoing and very eager to help. I feel like getting to know each and every student and seeing them teach, it's truly this amazing journey that I'm so happy to be part of. Yeah.
I actually had another question. So once we've completed the training, does the studio offer like an opportunity to teach at the studio, or like it's only limited to the teacher and training part of it?
I can speak to that, Simran. So you start with the teacher in training, which is part of your practicum, and then there's always the opportunity. Our doors are always open at Vinyasa Studio, and to be honest, we've kind of always had this philosophy of seeing our students, our yoga students, kind of turn into teachers, and just their involvement in the community was kind of that push and gave them that little I guess like that obvious sort of choice that of course they should be teaching with us. So seeming that I'm a big part of the teacher training and own the studio, this is something that I see evolving even more. So there'll be tons of opportunities. And like I mentioned before, we have the dedicated class called Flow 15.
Right.
And right now our schedule is very limited, just with all the government regulations. But we have the opportunity, and I'm hoping to start on in fall, September, when the campus reopens and the vaccination is all rolled out, that we'll be able to have a really full roster. So lots of class time opportunities, more of these Flow 15 spots. And from Flow 15, you know, when you feel like you're pretty experienced and you're confident to move forward, then you can look at, you know, teaching a regular class. And by regular, I mean, it's not the discounted drop-in, it's just what you see normally, like a power or a flow or a chill or whatever.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
does that answer it?
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
Okay, cool. You're welcome. Yeah,
Awesome. I think we're good.
is that good for now?
No, just one last about what Sarah was saying in the way that the three of us are always developing this program. We're constantly trying to find ways to be able to promote you guys as new teachers. So when new opportunities come out, we'll definitely always consider whether it is online. I mean, right now we're allowing students to use our Zoom if they need to host their classes, whatever we can do to help your process. That's what we're here for. And we're really open to building new ways that we've never done. So I think that's it.
Yes. Amazing. Well, thank you, Simran, for hopping online. Our one audience online. And yeah, if you guys ever have any other questions, we're always here. Shoot us an email or drop in the studio.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, last thing. The manuals are there. Did you? I know Simran has seen them, but did you want to have a quick flip through? So you get it, you have the opportunity to get a printed manual as well. So sometimes it's nice to just have the paper copy. So yeah, it's a big book of info. It's kind of heavy.
Yeah, I'm just showing. They're at the studio as well. So if you ever are curious, you can come through and flip through it. Yeah, it has everything in here.
Yeah. We'll see you soon, Simran.
Bye.